Hello, how's everyone today? It's a nice cold windy day, that's for sure. I can't believe how cold it is. But it is winter and that's what we've got to expect, I suppose. So I hope you're all having a great day, and if you're watching, please say hello. Bit of hair that's just sticking up there. It's not going to stay down. Oh dear. Anyway, so I'm Anita Mazzero, Stampin' Up demonstrator in Horsham, Victoria, Australia. As I said, it's quite windy today. The feel like temperature is unbelievably cold. But, that's what happens. It gets cold. So I've got a bundle or a suite that's online. So never forget to go and have a look at our online exclusives. And this is called the Charming Day Suite. And it's got beautiful floral paper. It's got dies and stamp set. It does have ribbon and that, but I didn't order any of that. I'm just working with what I've got. I ordered a couple of bits from it, and it is so pretty. It really is. I'm going to pop the camera down and let you have a look at the papers and the bundle, and then we will make live an easy concertina fold card. And this is thanks to Connie Stewart. I saw her video of it and loved it. But of course, she's in America and the measurements didn't quite work out with our papers. I felt I could do it a bit differently by doing it with our papers. So I have changed it around and going to use our papers to make our measurements, the metric measurements to make the card. Got it? So anyway, as I said, if you're watching live, which is the little red button, pop in and say hi. Just let me know that you are watching and I'm not talking to myself. And if you're watching the replay, please also say hi, whether it be on YouTube or on Facebook. So I'd love to see you and hear from you. So anyway, as I said, I'm going to pop the camera down and we're going to go off and I'll show you this card completely from scratch rather than cut the pieces and show you. So, okay, we will flip the camera down and we will see you when I've got it all organised. And this is always the problem, just making sure that I've got, there we go. Right. This is our beautiful Charming Day stamp set. Absolutely love the floral designs in this. It's really, really good. And it's got, apart from your happy birthday and thanks for being you, it's also got, hey, you made my day, or hey, can't wait to see you again soon. So that's a really nice little set of bundles, like set of wordings and the different fonts make it great. And it's a red rubber, so it's really good. Then in the dies, we've got this beautiful large flower standalone die. You have what looks like a rose standalone. You've got some leaves standalone, some large leaves, small leaves, and then you've also got a rose on its own. And then you've got three that cut out, these three cut out the three designs on the stamp set. And I'll just set that like that for now. Then there's the paper. And, paper is absolutely gorgeous. Now, one side is quite dominant florals. The other side is quite plain, as you will see. So this is our first one, which has your petal pink. It's got a little bit of Secret Sea in it. It's got some deeper tonings. And then you go the other side, you've got Pretty Peacock with this beautiful pattern Really pretty, that. Then you've got this one, which has got your pinks, your peach pie, your blackberry bliss, your old olives, mossy meadow, and even a little bit of pecan pie. And then it's got the mossy meadow on the background. Then you've got this one, which is a rose floral, really pretty, got all the roses. And then you flip it over and it's got the blues. It's really, and that's a pattern piece. Then you've got this particular one, right away, which has got your browns, beiges and your pinks, and again you've got a pink on the other side. Then we have this one, which is your sort of your sprigs type things, all the different colours, beautiful, absolutely beautiful piece of paper. And then you have on the back, you've got very muted tones in the oranges. And then you've got this particular one, which is your beautiful floral designs. And you could cut these flowers out if you wish. And you've got leaves in there that you could cut out. And again, any of this you could cut out. It's up to you what you want to do. And then on the reverse of this, you've got this beautiful two-tone. And the beauty is that you've got the design of this going across this way and your pattern going down this way. So you need to be careful when you're cutting those particular papers. So the one I want to use today is this one. So I'm going to use this one, and it's got pretty abstract pattern on the other side. I think. Yeah, it should be pretty bright for what I want to do. So I'm going to team that up. Just reaching over for my stuff. I'm going to team it up with Secret Sea and Petunia Pop. Hello, Jacinta. How are you today? Nice and windy up your way? So I think those three colours look really nice together. And I'm hoping it will look great when I've got it done. So I'm going to bring in my trimmer. We'll start with that. I've got my measurements here, so I need to follow them to make sure I can get them all correct. So first of all, I'll move all this out of the way, and I'm going to start with my back and front pieces. So I need two pieces of 10.5 by 14.9. Nice and windy. It's actually, the wind is a bit icy, I think. I felt that when I went out earlier, and I thought, was quite surprised. So 10.5, our A4 cardstock, I'm going to cut it this way, come down. So there's a half of the A4. And then I'm going to go to 14.9. And that is our front and back of our cards. Then I need a piece for the pop-up of the card. So this needs to be 28 centimetres. Now, look at this, and yep, this will do fine. So it's 28 by 8.5. So let's cut it down to 8.5 first while I've got it in the portrait position. I'm going to cut that to 8.5. So I've got the scrap to do. And then I'm going to take it to 28 centimetres and trim off that small piece. Then I'm going to score this, and I'm going to do the first score over this side because I've got more control over this by having it on this particular side. So I'm going to take it to 2 centimetres, move my cutting blade out of the way and score 2 centimetres. Then I'm going to rotate and turn it to 4 centimetres. And then I'm going to move it to 14 centimetres. And make sure I keep it straight. Then I'm going to take it to 24 centimetres. Just making sure I get right on our mark. 24 centimetres. Good afternoon, Lucia. How are you? And then 26 centimetres. So that piece is our mechanism for inside. So I've got, out of 1 sheet of cardstock, I've got our front and back and our mechanism. Pop them aside. Now I'm going to take a piece of Petunia Pop. Really nice and bright colour. So for this one, I need to cut it at 14.4. So I'm going to cut it this way, length, the long side of my cardstock down this way. So I'm going to turn it at 14.4 and trim that off. So that's some piece left over for later. And then I'm going to rotate it and turn it to 21.5. And trim that off. Then I'm going to go and score this at 1.5. 1.5. And then at 10. Because it was 21.5, I know that these 2 pieces are going to be 10 centimetres each. So that's one. Now I need another piece that's 20 centimetres. But I know that this equals 21, so I'm going to cut it this way rather than the lengthwise because I'm wasting too much paper. So I'm going to cut that at 14.4. And let's face it, we don't want to be wasting too much paper. Put that over there. So 14.4, I'm going to then cut that to 20 centimetres. Line that up. And then scoot it across to 10 centimetres. And score. And that's our inside. So I'm going to take this and get rid of this for the moment. So I'm going to take these 2 pieces, and so I can see clearly, I'm going to just fold that piece in and fold that. And then I'll fold this one as well. So just remember which way they're going to go. That way. And making sure that they are nice and flush. Got my pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to be actually sticking this together like so. So that's going to be a part of our inside. Nice and windy in Melbourne. It certainly is here. Now what I've gone and done is I've added a bit of copy paper. I've cut a 10 by 14 4 piece, just of a scrap bit of copy paper, and I want to cut the centre out of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop that in place, and then I'm going to get a deckled rectangle. And I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, the 4th one from there. And the reason I've chosen this one is because this is going to slide through. So it's just enough for it to slide without being too big. So I'm just going to roughly eyeball it where I want it. And then I'm going to grab my, sorry for reaching over, I'm going to grab my washi tape. Just make sure it's nice and straight. And I'm going to pop that like so on the middle. Now, if you want to, you can stick it down to your cardstock, but you don't want the washi tape to tear it. So that's sitting nice and flush. I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine. And I hope this doesn't move too much for you when I do it. So plate number 1, plate number 2, plate number 3, which is getting a little worse for wear. And then I'm going to take this, lay this in here and line it back up again because it did move, which is why I chose to do the, oh, and one thing I forgot to do, and I need to do that before I start cutting, is I need to write on here, how silly of me, the top, because I need to know what's going to be on the top. So I know that this piece here is the top. So that means that when I measure, if I measure that top piece, when I put this paper, if it's slightly longer, it's not going to matter because I'm measuring the top exactly the same. So I've gone and done that. It's nice and flush and straight in there. And now I'll pop that in there and pop that on. It did not move, no, because I'm very good at moving things when I'm putting things through. But please excuse any wobbling of the... So I've got this, and because it was just copy paper, that lifts off. So there's my centrepiece. So I'll take those two aside. Now I know that this is how it's going to go. This is going to go this way. So it's going to fold like so. So I take this piece, making sure that's going to be my top. Do exactly the same thing as I did with the other one, lining up the top, popping that in, putting my plate on top, and it moved. That's the last thing I wanted to do, is to move on me. Line it nicely up. And I'm going to cut that. Do I cut that through? And we'll keep that piece. And there's your template for the next card that you're going to do. So I'll just pop that away. I hope you weren't rocked around too much. Right. So as I said, there's our top piece that goes to that. So I'm lining them up, having a look, folding it together and making sure that there's no little buckles, because I did find that it does buckle a little bit. And when I look at it here, I can see that I need just a fraction off, but I'm not 100% sure which side yet. And that's what I did before. I took a little bit off after I put it together. So I'm just going to mitre the two ends. Like that. And then I'm going to put these two together. And because we had our template, these two will line up so that the even space all the way around. Just get my glue. And pop a little bit of glue. You can use tape if you want to, But when I'm putting something like this together, I like to have wiggle room. Get rid of my bits and pieces. I'm just going to lay that on top, butt that to the fold, nice and even, and just give that a press to allow the glue to hold. And then I'm going to fold that over. Oh, look, that did really well today. I don't need to trim. It always depends until you have got that piece. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up and I'm going to get my petunia pop. Move this out of the way so we don't have any mishaps. And I have mounted this beautiful leaf that's in there. Now what I want to do is I'm just going to randomly stamp this leaf around all this paper. So basically going to turn this into a bit of a designer series paper. I'll just have a look at which way I want it to go. Like so. So I'll look at the corners first. That's where I start. And then I will randomly fill the middle. Don't need a lot, just enough that it shows. You know, and then I might put one up there like that. One down there. And across there. And we'll go that away. So as you can see what I'm doing, just getting a nice little bit of a fold. The corners. And then we'll go upside down that way. Just to the reverse of what I've done on the other side. And then we come in here. We will do this. Now, most of you know my husband's a golfing fanatic. Sat up till 4 o'clock this morning to watch the golf. So, be one tired boy today. Okay. There's our stamping for this. Just simple. Not a lot to do. And that's going to fold up. Now I'm going to take my front and back piece, and I know what I forgot to cut was the designer series paper, but that's all right, we'll do that in a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and we're going to put the glue on. And then this is going to sit on here. Whoops, flip it over. Just like you would do your normal layer. Just pop it in the middle of the card, giving yourself an even border. So you can see I've got the border there and it's in place. So now I'm going to put glue on the front, just like so. And then I'm going to take this, and I found that what works best for me is I'm holding it in place, but then I keep it level with the base and just slide it like so. I could imagine them sitting and watching soccer or something, or football, but yeah, no, 4 o'clock this morning. Couldn't believe it when I heard him climb into bed. So there we go. This part of our card. It's not a very difficult card. To me, it was difficult getting the measurements correct. So now I'm going to take my designer series paper, which I forgot to cut. So we're going looking at your direction. So this is the direction going on the paper. So you turn it the opposite way to your direction. So I need this to be, here's my notes, 8.2 centimetres. So it doesn't matter what I'm cutting, it's going to be 8.2 centimetres in height. So pop that there. And I'm going to trim that off. Now, this is where I want the paper. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to trim off, make sure I've got it the right way, move that out of the way. I'm going to trim off and I'm going to turn it upside down and do it from this side because I've got more leverage doing this. So we're going to trim this piece at 1.7. It's only a tiny piece, so 1.7. So if you have your piece in front of you, that is going to go there. So then I'm going to rotate it so the pattern continues, and I'm going to go to 9.7. And take that piece, and once again I'm going to rotate the other way to 1.7. And then that piece will fit there. So if I was to put those three pieces together, we should be pretty right. Okay. Then I need a piece of white. And I've got to open a new packet. Should have done this beforehand. That's got it. And does it want to come out? No, of course not. There we go. Going to cut this at 8.7, so I'm just going to cut it from the bottom. So I'm going to go 8.2. Woohoo! Just as well I double checked my measurements. 8.2. So 8.2. I'm going to trim that. And then I'm going to turn that to 9.7. That's where I had the 7 in my brain. The side. That away. So that is going to go there, but this will go here. But before I put that on, I'll glue the designer series paper. And did I lose a piece? Yep, I did. There it is. Little tiny pieces love to disappear on you. So keeping it the right way, I'm just going to put a bit of glue on and pop that in that fold there with the border top and bottom. And I'll put this piece down. Shame to hide the blue because it's a pretty pattern. Okay, we're just going to pop that in place like so because I don't want to lose these pieces. Just that. And I'm going to pop that in there. The thing is, when you've got this, and if you're making more than one, I found that as long as these two pieces remain the same, you can put any strip there that matches. Doesn't actually have to match the same because you've got this piece of white in between. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stamp the flower. I only want a small flower in the corner, so I'm going to use this one. Now I'm trying to decide, I want a colour, and I was debating this earlier and I'm thinking I want the leaves, I don't know. I hate it when this happens, and yet I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to get some grey granite. It's not in there, but I just thought I needed a contrast colour. Get that in, and that's just a nice little bit of colour so I can do my colouring. And I should have thought of that one before I started, but yeah. Why would I do that? That's too hard work. Now, my lovely friend Lucia, hello, Cherry, welcome. She did a couple of weeks ago a lovely card, and in that card she talked about mixing your blends. Now, I hadn't thought of that, so I've got a little cheat sheet here for what I want to do in my colouring. Now, because the leaves in this are more on the blue, I have been looking at how to do it. So I've found that putting a blue over the top was a bit dark. Then I wanted the leaves. So I looked at all the different colours and I've come up with this particular one. So that is using dark bubble bath and pretty petunia pop, light and dark. So they're the two colours I'm going to use there for that. So, and then for the leaves, I'm going to use light and dark pretty peacock, don't went blank on that, and then some Lost Lagoon. So I've been playing, and so for the leaves, I'm going to start off with the light Lost Lagoon. So I'm just going to put some colour just gently on. And pop that in there. Not worried that I've got a bit of white. We'll add a little bit of dimensional to the leaf anyway, because when we put the colour, the other colour on, we might get a stronger, maybe blue, stronger green. See how it goes. I'm just going to pop that on down the bottom. As you can see, I've left a little bit of white around. Granny Apple and Pretty Peacock look good too. Yes. It's probably not the right green for this particular paper though, Cherry. So then I'm going to take the dark Pretty Peacock and I'm just going to go over the lines just to give it a bit of depth, because otherwise I'll lose that vein, and I want that vein to show through. And I'll come down over that just to give that little bit of a look. So my stem is actually going to be a lot darker. Then I'm going to take the light Pretty Peacock and I'm just going to colour a little bit around the bottom, just like so, just to give it a bit of colour. I don't want the whole leaf sort of that bluey. And this is why I said it didn't matter that if you had a bit of white. Then I'm going to come back with the light and just pull it all together, but not go as high. So again, I've got like different shades of the same colour. Just going in, just drawing it a little bit further up. So when that dries, that's going to give me a couple of different shades of this particular greeny blue on the card. So as you can see there, how it's just given the colours. So it's given a bit, and I've got a little bit of white in there, but that doesn't matter. So now I'm going to go to the flower. I'm going to take my dark bubble bath and I'm going to do pretty much like we did with the leaf. Just go up, leave a bit of white and come in here. Just come around and bring it up. Just create the base. So this is my base for the card. It's like when you're painting, you have a base coat. Then I'm going to take the dark petunia pop And I'm just going to do some flicks. Not a lot, just a few flicks. Just so that creates that bit of darkness. Come back around. Keep turning your paper when you're colouring so that you've got it. I'll pop that in there like so. And then I'm going to take the light and just extend that a tiny bit more, not too much, just a tiny bit more, so that you get like the 3 shades of the pink. Come around in here. And then, of course, I'm going to come over the top with the dark bubble bath, and I'll just come down from, I don't want it going all the way, so I'm just picking up the colour, and this is more just a blend of the 3 colours together. I'm not very good at colouring and deciding, but after Lucia gave me this little tip of mixing, it made a lot of sense. And then I've got a little bit of Pretty Peacock, and I'm just going to pop that in the middle. I know it's not the colour in here. If I had Blackberry Bliss, which I do not have, I'm surprised the blends I don't have, I would have used a bit of Blackberry Bliss, but I thought this is much more open than that flower. So I thought I'm just going to add a little bit of light pecan pie in there to create the centre of the flower. And there's my flower. So you can see the colour and it's there. And the more it dries, the more it's going to change from what it is. And the grey granite, using it for the outside, just draws it all in nicely, I think. So that's my little card. Look, those leaves. So then I'm going to get rid of that. Pop this in this spot here. So the card is an easy card. It was just sorting out the measurements when I did my template. And I'm going to pop that in there. I think that picks up the green that's in here. I mean, I could have gone more navy, but I think having the green, it just picks up the greens around. So now I'm going to get my bone folder and I'm going to burnish the folds. So these 2 we just burnish over. The middle one we burnish inwards. So we have a valley. And then we'll repeat the process for this side. And so you have mountain, a mountain, and a valley. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, making sure you've got it the right way up, and we're going to glue this to the inside. So I'm going to take my glue and I'm just going to not put it on the other side like I just did accidentally. Get rid of that glue. So keeping it flat like so, you're then going to make sure it sits in the centre and take it to the edge of your card. So you line it up with the edge of your card. Oops, that just moved on me. That's not what I wanted to do. So you're lining it up with the edge of your card, like so, and you just give it a good score. The bone folder. And just... Now we're going to repeat that on the other side. Pull that out, close that, so it's nice and flat. Close this, pop my glue. Take that, keeping it nice and straight, and you're going to take that right over to the edge, and you're going to give that. Thank you, Lucia. adhere that down. And then when your card goes up, it sits like that. So you can see that from there. So when you close it, it just looks like a normal card, albeit a bit thick. And then you open it up and there's your card. So you've got enough room to write on this side. So you just have to flip that over like so, making sure that's flat on that side. Or this side where you're going to write, pop that in there. And then will just sit. So you imagine sitting that on the mantle. Something very different. And I love the idea of this fold when I seen it. So now we're going to come to the front. Now I've got these two pieces of the leftover. I'm thinking, what am I going to do with these? Do I want them or do I want something else? So I'm going to have a look at take that. And I've got a piece of the blue. I'm trying to look at which way my pattern seems to go this way, which means this isn't quite big enough. But I do like that. So I'm going to cut another piece. Have a bit of a background. So I know which way I want to cut it. So it's going, if I go this way, keep that pattern this side. I know 10 centimetres, I'll use less paper. Yes, that's the pattern. Making sure I've got it the right way. Think twice, cut once. And then I'm going to turn that to 14.4. I'm going to take that. And I think that will look really nice on the front. It's really pretty, that. Because I'm going to keep this pink piece and I might see if that will fit. I'm thinking I might put a bit of blue. So work out the height of this. It's 9 by 5.5. Nothing like doing this on the fly, isn't it? So I'm going to go 8.7. What did I say it was? 9 high. So I want 8.7 this way. Because I think that this bit's pretty much hocus pocus. So 8.7. By, look at this again, 5.3. And I think that, yeah, look, this doesn't matter that it was not directional because you can't really tell. So this is me on the fly working out what I want to do on the front. I'll show you my samples because the samples are different to what I've chosen. So I'll glue this to the front. And then such pretty paper, this paper. So pretty. So I'm going to glue that. And my suggestion with this, when we're doing the front, very little height, because it's got enough height in it as it is, enough thickness. You don't want to overdo it. If you do, you need to probably make an envelope yourself. So I'll pop that just inside there, just so the pink's poking through as a contrast. I'm going to put that there, but I'm not going to do it just yet. Might be tempted to just sit that. I'll see how I go. So I've gone and cut one of the beautiful flowers from the dies, and I've cut a couple of leaves out, and I've also gone and fussy cut Happy Birthday from the sweat. So I'm going to take 2 leaves, put them over there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the leaves off this because I want to colour and it's going to be awkward. Yeah, they're beautiful papers, aren't they, Lucia? And I'm sure you'll come up with something really nice for your class. So just trim these leaves off. I'm just going to use them because on my other ones I coloured with the leaves there, but I found them difficult. And I'll trim this little flower off this one, just like so. And one down here. So I'm just going to cut them up. Who says they have to stay together? Right. Now I will get a scrap of paper here before that I was looking around with. So I'm going to do my colouring. So I'm going to start with my leaves. So these leaves, I will start the same as I did the others. So I'm going to use, I might use the thick end. So I'm just going to colour the leaves because I'm going to put them back in underneath. Just colour these leaves. Get them in, doing exactly the same as we did to the one on the inside. So colour that in. Pop that up there, and last but not, I should have done some beforehand, but I didn't. I had planned to, but I then, at the very last minute, changed the colour to what I was originally going to use, which meant I had to stop and think very quickly on my feet what I was going to do. So I'm going to take the dark, and where we've got the grooves from the die cut, I'm just going to very carefully follow that line down into the stem and just add a little bit of colour at the base. Repeat that with each one of them. Bring it into the stem. Because I just felt the stem needed to be just a shade darker than the rest of the leaf. So I'm going to come in, pop that, come in, get these leaves all done. And pop those. Yes, I should have done this beforehand, but I'm keeping it real. And if I stuff up, you'll see the stuff up. Coming in there. Come in there, and you can see even as it's drying, it's changing its colour. So that's one of the beauties of the Stampin' Blends. It allows the colour to adapt with the colour underneath. I watch some people who can colour beautifully, even though they think they don't, Lucia. They do some beautiful work with their colouring. Okay, so there's those. And I'm going to take my light Pretty Peacock and do what I did on the others. Just add a little bit, sort of to blend the base in. It's surprising how many of my blends have dried out. I've been using them, but then, you know, you put them away in the cupboard, and then when you go to use them again, they're a little bit on the dry side. You've forgotten to order it. And I've realised that the greens and the browns are my most used colour ones, which surprised me because I didn't think that they would be the ones I'd use the most. I'll just pop that in. Give that colour. And then I lost Lagoon again and drag the colour, not all the way, just up. Because again, remember, I want that different shades of the colour to show through rather than just have one. So there's one. By having the base coat down and then putting the coat over the top will help it to blend in beautifully. There's my other one. Now, can you imagine what it would have been like trying to colour these leaves while they were on the flower? I did do it before, but I was not happy with it. Right. Now, while I've got this out, change to the fine tip. There is a little stem just in there. So can you see that little stem just there? So don't forget to colour that in. You don't want to leave it white or any other colour. So you need to just make sure you've got that coloured in. So I'm just going to use a bit of the Lost Lagoon and some light Pretty Peacock, just popping it in there to give it pretty much the same colour as what I've done. You can see as the leaves are drying, they've got the various shades of colour, and when you look at the DSP, they've got various shading. Right, now the flowers. I'm going to start off with my light bubble bath. No, actually I didn't want light, I wanted the dark. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to use the brush tip end, and I'm just going to leave a little bit of white around the edges. And my centerpieces are still in there, and that's not going to matter. I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. So I'm just going to take that around. I'm going to do one flower at a time. Then I'm going to take my I'm going to take the dark Petunia Pop, and I'm going to draw in where the little creases are made. Draw that in. And then I'm going to take the light, and I'm just going to bring the light around the edge, around in here. And then take the dark in here, because this is the centre of the flower, so I'm going to use the dark. When I pop out the little pieces, you won't see it. So then I'm going to take my dark bubble bath, and then I'm just going to blend, but not all the way, just blend that in, just like so. And I'm going to repeat the process for the other flowers. So as I said, if I thought of it and hadn't changed my mind at the last minute, you wouldn't be sitting here watching me. So how was everyone's weekend? I hope you all had a good time. My dark. And my light. Just going to come in here. Just create the colour and come back with the light to blend it all in. Got that for this one. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not sure if that's part of the flower or not. So I'm just going to create this. Dark in here. And I think I'll use, for those ones, I'm going to use the light bubble bath to give the effect, because I'm really not sure what that's meant to be. Oh, that's good, Lucia. It's lovely when you have family. Okay, so I'm going to get my light bubble bath and I'm just going to give this a little bit of colour. Just a little bit different. If it's part of the flower, well, the edges are just a bit on the light side. Which, let's face it, flowers are never the same. So there we go. Put them away. I'll just make sure I remove the little pieces, the part of the flower. I found it easier to leave in so that I could colour them, especially the fine little pieces. And then this one I'm just going to pop up, give it a little bit of an effect. And so there's my flower. Those into the bin. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to put my flower on. I'm going to look at how I want that to sit. And then I'm going to take all the different leaves and just place them first. It's vitally important that we place them because we might not want them all. And I'm not worried that I'm sitting outside of the rectangle. So I'm just going to have that with the flower. I'm going to lift that up and I want to see what it's looking like on here. And I think that will look really, really nice, just like that. So I'm going to pick these up. I'll just lift the flower and leave the leaves where they are. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue and stick them in place. Put that one on. Pop that one on. Just pop the leaves where I had them. Pop that. And pop that. Now I haven't pressed them down, so I'm just going to make sure that that will suit nicely with what I've got. And I'm happy with that. That can come down a fraction. And that will sit nicely. So I am going to put just some little dimensionals on the back of this. I'm going to raise this one up slightly. I'm not going to put too many because I want it to have an organic feel to the way it sits on the page. Little dimensionals are perfect for when you've got something that's intricate and tiny. Just making sure I've got plenty to hold it in place. Right, take your pick tool, remove the backs. Take that, pop that in place. You got your flowers. And it's just enough so that the leaves, and I'm not doing anything, I want to leave them like they are because I don't mind them being a little bit loose and creating a dimension without having a dimension behind it. Okay, now I'd like to put some ribbon behind that. And I'm going to use some petunia pop ribbon. It's come out. I'm just going to take a piece of this. I'm just going to pop that behind a little bit more. It's about enough. I'm so angry that we can't get these snips anymore. I hope whatever they bring back will be something that we can use. I'm just going to lay this like so. And before I glue it down, pick that up to make sure that I'm happy with where it's sitting. I'm just going to put a bit of tape on the back. Right. Well, Chia, I noticed that you and Rochelle went to Fountain Gate. You'd never been there before. So I'm going to put some little dimensionals on the back of that. I'll use normal size. Because as I said, this is a fairly thick card as it is. So I don't want to add too much more. Oops. Take that. I'm going to pop that. I reckon I'll pop that smack in the centre. Going to put it to one side and use the other piece, but I'm not. And then I'm just going to put the happy birthday, and I think I might just sit it in amongst the flowers like so. Because I think if I put it down here, I just feel it may get a bit lost. And unless I put it on a piece of other, and I like the fine cutouts. So I'm just going to Wow, that's interesting, especially if you live in Melbourne. You know, someone like me that rarely goes to Melbourne, that would be something I'd say, no, I haven't done. Okay, we're going to pop that on there. There's my happy birthday. And of course, I can't go without putting some wink on. Just give it a little bit. This one's about had it, so there's not going to be a lot on there. Pop some wink on. And then I am going to, and I know I had them, pop them down. There they are. I've got some gems. And these are our purple fine shimmer gems. And you say, why are you using purple with the blues and the pinks? But this particular purple, when I put it against it, it actually brings it out. Just, it seems to blend in beautifully. There's a different shade of purple there, but I'm not using that one. So I'm just going to pop a few dimensionals in around the flowers to give it a bit of pop. So there we go. I'll get rid of that. So there's our card. And there we are. It looks, that's the look from the top. And that's from the... And if you wanted to, if you felt you wanted to, you could always put a piece of white on the back and a little bit of DSP, and you can use that if you're a prolific writer. I'm not. So for me, that's more than enough room to scribble what I want to say. So there's the card. So I hope you like that. Now, as I said, I've got a couple of samples that I had done beforehand. So this is another one that I've done where I used the two pieces that we cut out, Lucia's tip-on colours, to do the perfect leaves to match the inside of this one. And this one, it lost a bit of dimension. I didn't quite get that right, but it's still okay for a card to go out. Then I did this one and created the green that I wanted that matched the green inside of that one. So there's the three Concertina cards, and they're all different because of the papers. So it depends on the paper that you use on how it all turns out. And, you know, even this one that I changed my mind at the very last minute, I'm very happy. So here I didn't use anything more than the two rectangles and just did it plain on the background. Here I added a piece of embossed cardstock, gave it a bit of colour to make the design pop out, and coloured one of the pieces so they look so different to each other. There is the designer series paper, the reverse of the designer series paper, and the paper. But as you can see, inside, they are all different because of the different papers that are used throughout. You must have a go. It's fun, Lucia. And as I said, it's not hard. Like when I figured it out from the American measurements, like if I show you this was my template of my American measurements. So as you can see, it's a lot shorter and it's wider than ours. And so I've just done this for a sample, but I cut wrong. But for a template, this is perfectly fine. So I can see now what I'm going to do, and I'll put that aside in my kit. But yeah, just working out to fit our cardstock, so I wasn't wasting a lot of papers. So there we go. I hope you like it. As I said, same birthday sentiment on all three, just the way they've laid out, and they are three totally different colours. So here I only used the one flower. Here I used exactly the same. There I put it, left them all together and just added these two pieces. Here I cut them and rearranged them, and it looks fuller there for some unknown reason. So thank you for watching. It was a bit long today because we went from scratch, but we've got this done. So I will see you next week. And if you do make it, please pop it up on my page. I would love to see how yours turns out because it is a fun card. And yeah, let's show other people what you do because you might do something that I wouldn't think of. But I'd love you to pop it up on the page and let me have a look. So anyway, have a great week and I'll see you next Monday. Bye for now.